Did you know that you can parry safely by tagging in a new character as you attempt the parry? Did you know that characters take different amounts of damage? How do guard breaks work exactly? Demon Slayer is a game with a ton of depth and mechanics, but a lot of those are things that we have to figure out on our own through trial and error. Today I want to give you some tips that will help you in multiplayer matches. These are 10 things that the game doesn't teach you. Let's start with a big one, Wakeup Invulnerability. In most fighting games, when you knock down an opponent, you get to apply pressure on their wake up. This is known as Okizeme, or Oki for short. And it's present in pretty much all fighting games and a few arena fighters as well. Oki in Demon Slayer is pretty much non-existent, because the attacking player is actually at a disadvantage. The player getting up is invulnerable for a few frames after they do so, which means they get to attack you while invulnerable if you decided to stick close to them. To deal with this, I've seen some players do a strong attack on Wake Up in order to counter attacking players, and it works, but it is somewhat of a risky option. The knockdown player can choose to Wake Up roll out of range, and then you're whiffing a strong attack, which is very punishable. They can also choose to call an assist while knocked down, which will limit your options too. But if you time your strong attack correctly and have an assist ready to cover you, doing a strong attack can be a viable option, except that timing can be completely smoked by our next tip. Wakeup Tag. This is such a powerful tool that I bet we'll see it a lot more as the game progresses. This game has two types of knockdown. One is a soft knockdown where players can choose to press jump just as they're about to fall, which makes them recover immediately. And then there's a hard knockdown where they fall down and then get up after a set amount of time. So as the knockdown player, you basically have two options: recover immediately or stay on the ground, getting up almost 2 seconds after the knockdown. But what if I told you that you can actually recover at any moment you choose between these two options? By tagging in the next character while you're knocked down, you're essentially messing with your opponent's timing. If they finish the combo with a hard knockdown because they're buying some time to regenerate resources, you can deny that downtime by doing a Wake Up Tag. If they're trying to pressure you on Wakeup Tag is gonna mess with their timing as well. And the best part is, you can do it as soon as you're knocked down, a little bit afterwards, or delay it like crazy. You have full control of when to tag in your next character. This type of variable wake-up timing is very powerful in most fighting games, and it's no exception here. It can catch opponents off guard, it can mess with the pressure timing, so make sure to take good advantage of it. Vary your wake-up timing and you'll be denying any pressure your opponent might throw at you. There's so much you can do with tag in this game, and this is one that Storm players have probably already picked up on. Dash Tag. You've probably noticed already that you can usually throw an action while you're tagging out a character, and your first character will finish that action before they leave the stage. Well, that's the principle behind Dash Tag. If you're just walking in neutral, thinking about switching a character, why not dash at the opponent before doing so? Your first character will dash at the opponent, forcing them to block or sidestep, which means your new character will be free to move around while that happens. Maybe you didn't even want to switch, you just want to dash in safely. So you dash with two characters instead of one. It's a wonderful technique. There's so much you can do while tagging that you may not have thought about, and the implications are crazy. This was one that I first saw shared on Twitter, and that is Parry Tag. Parrying is a high risk, high reward move. If you land it, you get a blue combo off of it. If you whiff it, you're vulnerable for a short window of time. But what if I told you that if you have assist meter, you don't have to risk anything? You can tag when you parry, whether you hit or not. So if you miss it, you're safe. And if you hit, you tagged in a character and you still get that blue combo. Now, while this looks really good, potentially broken even, I think assists are really good in this game. The assist gauge is so valuable. So you can't do things like this all the time, and you're giving up your assist for neutral or pressure. But it's a good trade-off in the right situation. I mean, doing a risk-free parry? Sign me up. Next, I want to talk about what to do when your opponent is being too passive. They're just holding blocks, sidestepping correctly, dodging every one of your grabs. I mean, what can you do at that point? Well, it might be a good time to think about guard breaks. If you attack the guard enough, it will eventually break, that much is obvious. But how does it work exactly? Some data mining has revealed that each guard has a value of 100. Each attack deals 5 units of guard damage, meaning that it will take you 20 normal attacks to break a guard. Strong attacks will deal more damage, and since they can be charged, they can actually break a guard in one hit. The guard turns yellow when it reaches 60 and red once it reaches 30 guard points. Ultimate attacks deal a whopping 40 units of guard damage. Throwing an ultimate to break a guard may seem like a waste, but if it wins you the round, it may be worth it. And 20 hits may sound a lot, but a tip I can give you here is that every character's down combos have more hits than their neutral combos. So if you see an opponent blocking, go for a down combo. Usually they have 8 hits on their own. On top of that, if your opponent blocks your dash, that is 25 units of guard damage. The same as 5 attacks in total. Dashes destroy guards. Mix that up with some assists, and guard breaks are not as impossible as they first seem. Now let's move on to a situation that you will see all the time. You're blocking an assist and the opponent grabs you. Because you were grabbed while you were blocking, there was nothing you could have done. Or was there? There's actually a solution to getting out of a situation like this, and it works against a lot of different types of pressure, and that is push block into sidestep. You push block the assist and sidestep out of its range. And by doing that, you're dodging the grab at the same time. Now, timing this can be tricky, and with some timings, the grab can still connect, but it's much harder to time it right. The opponent can also catch your sidestep if they just run up to you and attack, but there's a good chance push block will also push them away. A strong attack might catch your sidestep though, but either way, at least you're not getting grabbed for free. You are forcing your opponent to change up their pressure. Now, technically, this next tip is actually taught to you by the game, but you have to really look for it, and it's kind of a big deal. If you check out any character's command list, on their normal attack section, you will see the attack button. The description says that if you tilt the stick while attacking, the attack will be slower but have bigger range. So this is what happens when you just press the attack button. It's a fast attack, but the character only advances very slightly. And this is what happens when you attack while tilting the stick. And as you can see, the character advances a lot more. This makes punishing opponents who did unsafe moves a lot easier. It also makes push block into attack a lot more reliable to punish opponents doing block strings, because check this out. Even if the first attack is slower without tilting the stick, you're gonna be missing the first 2 or 3 attacks before reaching the opponent after you push block. If you tilt the stick, however, the first hit will usually reach them. Now, this depends on the character you're playing with and the character you're playing against, so matchup knowledge is important. But either way, now you know that you have 2 different attack ranges just with your attack button, depending on whether or not you're tilting the stick. And now that you know how to better punish your opponent, perhaps you won't dash into them as often. And that's a good thing, because dashing actually nerfs your combo damage. Hitting an opponent with a dash deals 0 damage, but it actually counts towards your combo counter. And the bigger that number is, the less damage each individual attack will deal. You want to make sure that every hit in your combo deals the most damage possible. And with dash dealing 0 damage, you should avoid using it in combos if you can avoid it. Now, sometimes you're scrambling and a dash can be a good way to get in safely and confirm into attacks. You should totally use it. But when punishing opponents, if you know you're gonna hit them because they did something unsafe, try to make that first hit count. For more information on how to build combos, we made a video earlier this week. Make sure to check it out. We talked about this and a lot more. Did you know that if you do the exact same combo on 2 different characters, the damage you deal will be different? Every character in Demon Slayer has 10,000 points of health. So they all have the same amount of health, but they also have an invisible damage multiplier that may make them tankier or weaker to damage received. Tanjiro, Nezuko, Murata, and Gyu have a ×1 damage multiplier, which means they take the damage that each move deals. But there are a few characters that take more damage and 1 character that actually takes less. Urokodaki has a 0.95 times damage multiplier, which means each time you hit him, you're only dealing 95% of the damage that you usually do. But this also goes the opposite way. Sabito has a 1.05 times multiplier, Inosuke has a 1.1 times multiplier, Zenitsu, Makomo, and Rengoku take even more damage with 1.15 times, and the characters that take the most damage are Shinobu and Hinokami Tanjiro with a 1.2 times multiplier. The Academy versions take the same damage as their originals too, so you can't really dodge this by picking those. So the next time you're practicing Touch of Death combos, make sure they work on Urokodaki, so you know that you can kill the entire roster. Or at the very least, practice them against a 1 times damage character, so you're good for most of them. And let's wrap up this video with a very common situation. You're pressing buttons, as we tend to do in this game, and the opponent throws an ultimate. Now, you're in the middle of an attack animation, so you're screwed. There's no getting out of this. You just got outplayed. Or did you? Is this damage really unescapable? The answer is maybe. Depends on your resources. Step canceling or jump canceling is very hard. If you manage to get it off, chances are you won't move far enough away to avoid the ultimate, so that option ends up not being very reliable. However, if your character has an invincible move, you will actually deny the ultimate. And you can just throw that special on reaction once you see the screen freezing. That said, not all characters have invincible moves, so what is their answer? Well, at that point, you're gonna need to have some special bar yourself. Characters without reversals can throw an ultimate of their own. Since your ult was thrown second, you are invulnerable when they hit you, but they are not invulnerable when you hit them. You've successfully played the Uno reverse card. Now, the timing for this can be character specific, but it works on most characters. That said, sometimes you have 3 bars of meter and you don't want to spend it all just because your opponent doesn't have that much health. Well, when that's the case, you can also use boost. But the boost timing is a bit trickier. If you time it wrong, you will still get hit by that ultimate. Your goal is to boost when the opponent opponent is already inside your bubble. If they come from the outside of the bubble, this is useless. But yeah, if you have special bar, just don't get caught by reversal ultimates. The screen freezes for long enough for you to react, and you should be punishing this whenever possible. And those are 10 tips for Demon Slayer that the game doesn't really teach you. I hope this helps you guys improve your game in ranked matches, and if you learned something new today, let me know in the comments, and follow me on Twitch for all the Demon Slayer gameplay you might want. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye!